welcome back to the channel. And we're having a nightmare with this. We're having a nightmare with everything. This is going to be a what's broken now, because basically everything. I was using the lift yesterday to do something on the Golf we bought, and it jammed. This side jammed, which is the side that hasn't got the motor on. And there's something, I don't fully understand how these work. Probably gonna by the end of this. There's something called load nuts and safety nuts. Load nuts on the top, and there's 4 Allen key bolts which are inside this channel going down into the load nut. Underneath is a safety nut, and it's got a piece of threaded bar attached to it coming up. Now I was never sure what this label meant. We bent the threaded bar now, so it's not. But when you try and lift something up, the safety nut threaded bar should not come more than 2 mil out of this hole. Now mine was coming about 1.5 centimeters, so the safety nut is gone, which from what I can see is nylon. I don't understand how it works. Unfortunately, it's now, when you try and wind it, we took the plate off the top and put the nut back on with a cut off split pin so we can turn it. When you try and turn it, it locks the safety nut on, so you can't take the carriage all the way out. Unfortunately, this is the side that when it was out in the yard before we installed it, we noticed there was a real dodgy weld on the bottom of the sprocket. So I got the guy 2 rows down with a big heavy duty welder to put a nice thick bead on it to proper stop it ever coming off. And the way we got to do it is the whole piece of threaded bar, I'm saying threaded bar but it's like 1.25 inches, the whole piece of threaded bar has got to come out with the carriage still attached to get to the bit that's broken. Now the other side, there's just a roll pin. Well, I didn't realise there's a hole for a roll pin to go in, which you can just see there. What I should have done was ground the dodgy weld off and put a decent roll pin in. Didn't realise that hole was there. So now we've got, like, it's gone a bit rusty, but there's a proper like of weld in there. So we're now gonna stand on my socket set, have a go. That sprocket's got to come off so the entire assembly can slide out to the post. Bugger. Would be the side, well, I prefer this side without the motor on, because a lot like me and my dad were able to take this down on our own, but I still would have preferred this the side that didn't have the sprocket welding onto the flipping shaft. So I'm assuming there's a bearing in this plate, and once I've got that socket off, got that sprocket off the bottom of the shaft, then we should be able to, I'm gonna have to move it so we've got room for the threaded bar to come out. Then we should be able to split the 2 assemblies. But yeah, further news of BMW's broken again. It's now pulling, I've had to disconnect the battery because it's pulling 9 amps somewhere, don't know where, with the ignition turned off. So I think I'm going to have to admit defeat with that. That's going to have to go to the BMW specialist, the independent BMW specialist. So I'm going to hopefully get this apart so I can see what I need to order to fix this. And then because if you do both load nuts, both safety nuts on both sides, I was going to do both sides, so that's 520 quid, which you can buy a second-hand lift for 500, but then are the load nuts and the safety nuts knackered on that? You can buy a brand new one for 1100, but that'll be Chinese, and you're lucky if that lasts a year. If you want to go for a decent make one, which this is a decent make one, but it was made in 2003. You're talking about 3 grand, something like that, which is a bit like kind of do without at the moment. So I think what we might do is get this apart, have a look what's going on. I don't know if we can inspect the load nut to see how badly it's worn, or whether we just do both this side and then we know this side is good, and then if that side fails then we'll deal with that another time. But like, it could have been worse because the car there wasn't a car on it when this failed. I think this has been going for a while. So yeah, bugger. Right, grinding, we'll come back. Right, we're just starting to get a step round this side. There's still some weld there, which is joining it together. Might get this off. Tiny bit more. I think it'll come. Success. Well, some success. Not off yet, but it is. See, we've got a step now. Might try a little bit of heat on it now, because we've released the weld. I think we've released the weld. Oh, it's got a, oh. Might need a puller or something, because it's got can't remember what the name of it is now. A step thing, groove, jobby. Oh no. Right, we're getting it. Sprocket is off. I don't think I've actually damaged that too much. It's a keyway, that's what's in there. The keyway is bigger than the bearing that's got to slide through, so I've got to get the keyway out. And it was just a little bit of weld still attaching it, so we're going to try and chisel that. And with that out of the way, the shaft should come out, perhaps. Okay. Got to stop starting it with a K, but okay. Yeah, we have our answer. The way these work is you have a load nut, which is this brass one, which is set like that, and might be screwdriver. Safety nut, which is set like that. And what happens is, there is see that flap? A flap goes in the back of the carriage like that. Well, like that. No. Go in there, you bugger. Right, like that. So, if anything happens to the load nut, this safety nut is attached with just bolts, but with a gap. And in between the gap is the fingers of the flap. And in the post, I might not be explaining this very well, is this block. So if it starts picking this side up, and the weight is not being took on the load nut, the plastic one comes out, pushes out that flap wedges on this block, lift won't go any further than 3 inches off the floor. So basically it means you can't, if the load nut goes, you can't use it to pick a car up. Now when we were taking it apart, which is not easy, and as well as that, these rollers have been seized, and if you look there, there's a flat spot. So even though I've unseized them now, it's going to be going doo-doo, doo-doo, doo-doo. That was technical. Looks like there's nylon in there as well. Oh, that works. And they've all, that one's, see, I don't know if there's bearings in there, I haven't even looked yet, but they've all got flat spots. Even the ones that turn properly have got flat spots on. So if I get them so they turn properly, it's never going to work smoothly up and down the post, because it's going to be going on the flat spots, which if all four are unsynced, then it's going to sound absolutely awful. Yeah, but when we took it apart, I was thinking, this, in the manual it says if the safety nut is gone, this threaded bar thing happens. What they actually mean is if the safety nut is activated, this bar thing happens. And oops, those, I don't know if you can see it, that's the load nut. That's what picks the car up and goes up and down the threaded shaft. There is not a lot of thread left in there. what there is a lot of shards of, I don't know where they've gone now, of brass, which have lathed themselves off. There's a bit stuck in this plastic. Oh, there we go. You can see it there. That's how thin the shard. So they're the bits of thread from this load nut. I think the safety nut is okay. The thread is still pretty deep and good, not wobbly, screwed off lovely. There's a recess in the middle which lines up with the grease nipple. The grease nipples, which I didn't know were there, so I never greased it. I don't think that would. I think this was already going. But yeah, if you compare the two threads, that one and that one, this is just smooth. I don't know. I had my BMW on it on Saturday, 6 foot in the air. How it was even operated with that thread, I don't know. So yes, we now have bits everywhere. Need to make a bit of a diagram really, so I don't lose where I am, and put all the bits carefully somewhere. And then also everything needs cleaning, degreasing, greasing properly, because it was, wherever some of this was caused when it was outside, I don't know. Now, question in my mind now is, do we do both sides? Because that doubles the cost. That takes it up to, I think, yeah, 520 for load. Well, that's if you do load nuts and safety nuts. Now, I think the safety nuts are okay. Once I've cleaned the bits of brass out of the thread, the whole shaft needs cleaning, degreasing to make sure there's no bits of brass anywhere on that. New rollers are £25 each, so that's 4, so that's £100. I think there's 2 seized on this one, from what I remember. So, we're getting into quite a lot more money than I was hoping. So we need to make some decisions and do some tidying up. And basically that's all I've achieved today, is take this apart. And get immensely fed up during the process. But it could have been worse. Could have fallen on me. Might have had the safety devices deleted or not working. Like if that flap was seized so the safety nut didn't do anything, then I would have took another car up in the air and there's a good chance it would have come down on me. And they come down fast if you've watched any videos on YouTube. I don't like watching them because I don't like the thought of it happening to me. But, yeah, I'm going to tidy up all the tools and stuff that we've amassed to do this job. And then go from there. Go and look on the internet and do a bit of ordering. Yeah, we'll probably just do a little episode on this. But yeah, this is the sort of nightmare stuff when you got, this is expensive equipment, but it's old. It doesn't make it any cheaper to fix that it's old and worth less money. But because it's expensive and decent equipment, it's got all these safety devices which hopefully should save you. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. So it's a bits of video. Please like, comment, subscribe. Take care. See you later. Bye. Right, back to this. I'm having a nightmare with this. That side, due to various technical things, I had to take the threaded shaft out of the post and get which you may or may not have seen yesterday. Oh no, you have seen. This one, I thought, oh, no problem. The safety brake's not enabled on this one. I'll wind it out the top. So I wound it right the way to the top. And there's a machined edge, which is bigger than the thread, so it can't come off the top. I did think about grinding that down, but then do I want to wind my new £145 each brass nuts over something that, no. So it needs to come off the bottom, and this hasn't been apart for time. So I've just gone and bought a Bobby Basic silver line puller thing, which they assure me is probably a lifetime guarantee. And we're heating up the sprocket and putting a bit of tension on it. Hopefully it'll move. But let's set my GoPro up now so we can see the moment of because it will go. with a bang. Good luck, everybody. Oh, you bugger. Some tension on it. Through a leg shot. No ladies. Just round it up. Yeah, that's not working. At about 240, 220, a bit lower down on bottom edge. I don't think my battery's going in, mate. Yeah, give it a bit more down here. And that's not that way, that's that way to the left. Cock. ow, 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 ow. Don't for my gloves. After unsuccessful aborted go, Andrew next door's dug out these wedges. So I'm gonna try some heat again and Groundhog Day style. See if we can get this bad boy off. Chip up, don't they? That's probably me. Okay, another go. Attempt number 749,000. Apparently this is an old pit trick where I've welded and threaded this thick steel plate. I'm now going to weld this to the sprocket and then wind a bolt in with a gun and then cut it all off afterwards. That'll be fine. So yeah, we'll see if this works. I'm going to try not to weld into the sprocket area, so I'll put a strip down each side. And hopefully the weld will be strong enough. Hopefully it might get it off with the, I've got the gun all set up, so hopefully it'll do it while it's hot, and then that should bring it off. Fingers crossed, everybody. Good luck, everybody. Not going to do this. Well, that was on there. That's machined the edge in the shaft there, but yes, it's off. Ooh. Oh. Hello, welcome back to an extremely messy, bits everywhere, but I think I know where everything goes, workshop. And I'm sure I showed you before, this is the lift nut that's stripped out, so it's practically smooth. Now this is the good side. If you look at the thread is down to like 1 millimeter. This is a new one, which you can see is like 3 or 4 mil. So this one was extremely close to stripping out. So I'm glad we're persevered and doing both of them. This is the good side. If we screw this on here, that's how much wears on this nut. I haven't tried this yet, but this is the new one. Which is actually quite tight. But there's no up and down. Why is it? Right, this is just a little finishing off video for the lift video. As you can see now, it's working very nicely, smooth, no squeaking. Both sides working lovely. I thought I'd better do a little sort of explanation as to what I was on about, what I had problems with. This very pokey diagram, this is the lift nut, which actually should be the other way around. There. And there's a plastic safety nut. Now safety is relative term. It doesn't stop the lift dropping if the thread goes in this brass nut. What it stops it doing is going up from the bottom. So this is also threaded onto the main shaft. If this doesn't lift, this screws up and that flap I was on about gets pivoted outwards and catches on this block. These are screwed into the lift nut, but these are smooth. So the lift nut, the safety nut, can move up and down on those bolts. When I got it all back together, the problem I was having was these bolts had bent, and also this plastic safety nut had distorted slightly. So when you tightened everything fully tight, it just sees solid on the threaded shaft. And it turned out what was happening is when you tightened everything up, the lift nut was staying straight and the safety nut was being pivoted round, thereby locking on. It took me ages to work out what was going on with this. I replaced the bolts, put it all back together, and it bent the bolts again. Eventually what I did was drill the holes out in this plastic safety nut by 1mm to 11mm, which then gave enough, I want to say slop, but it's not slop, that when he tightened everything up, this would turn on the threaded shaft perfectly. Now, I was on about this piece of threaded bar. Now, the threaded bar is attached to the safety nut, comes up here, and you remember I said it had to be flush. I've drawn that too long now. It's flush here. Now, if you get wear on the threads of the lift nut, this moves closer, thereby pushing that threaded bar out, and that threaded bar can't be more than 2mm sticking out of this little bracket. That means you've worn 2mm off the threads of the lift nut, which if we look at the other one here, though the flat, the sharp bit, should be about 3 or 4mm. So this one's worn by at least 3mm. So if it was set up right, this threaded bar would have been fitted, sticking out by 3mm. What it basically means is you can wear half the thread away off one of these brass nuts, and it'll before you need to change them. So hopefully that makes some sense now, or more sense. Took me a long time to work it out. Didn't know how these worked till I took one apart. Even I had to take it apart several times before I could work out what was going on. But yeah, seems to be all operating correctly. This is the MGB I was messing about with in yesterday's video. That needs to come out. So, you know, I don't like doing this really. I'm going to lift this up in the air and drive that underneath. It should be fine. So, yeah, so that's the end of this video. So, thank you for watching. Take care. Stay in the house. I work on my own. Only one here. And I'm wearing gloves. So, yeah. Hopefully the country will be working correctly again soon. But yeah, take care. Bye-bye.